Watching another video of the mini map series. Not mini as in tiny, but mini as in a lot. So today we've made an ice lake. To make my videos a little shorter, I went ahead and made this map. So we're just gonna go over how I made it, and I just want to show you some tips and tricks and some methods for making natural maps like this. It's an ice lake, so I'll show you some tips and things that I did to make it. Okay, so I'll start from the very beginning. Whenever I make a map, depending on the terrain that I'm going to be making whatever I'm making the map about, I use the terrain as the basis. So okay, thanks Hinta, thanks for stopping in, hope to see you around. So we use snow as the foundation. I started with snow and I drew it across the whole map. Then I went ahead and did the trees. I did the trees on the side using this tile, and I went all the way up and just used the tips here. You gotta tip some off, and then you gotta use the basis on some of them. I mean the base of the tree on some of them. Alright, and then we added some little grass pieces to kind of show if that's a forest, so the grass kind of slowly builds up into trees. There's this tile piece here. It looks like grass underneath the sand. I mean the snow. It looks like grass underneath the snow. So we put one of those down. Then another piece of grass kind of off outside of the forest. Then we have you'll see these stones. Now these are actually rocks with ice on them, but I use these because they look like ice. So we put them on the water to make it look like little chunks of ice floating on the water. So that kind of just emulates that look. This is one of my map signatures when I make maps. I usually do a forest on the outskirt of the map. It's just one of my signatures whenever I make certain maps. Everyone has their own unique style. So in the left corner I put a little trees just to kind of balance the map a little bit. When you look at it, you can see all the trees are on this side, or actually that side. So all the trees are on this side just lined up. It kind of looked a little offset, so I went ahead in the corner and I put just a little bit of trees to just kind of tip the scale, you know what I mean? So then I put some okay, now let's look at the water, the coast, the beach of the water, or the bank you would call it. We put some small little rocks. You know how like a shore has little tiny small pebbles all on it. Some shores, not all. Excuse me. So we put some small rocks and pebbles on the shore of the lake. Also, an important note is that whenever I do these mini-map videos, I always use the default map size. You right-click the map and go to map properties. You can change that here. I use the default, which is 17 by 13. I just do that because I'm making a lot of these maps and doing a lot of these videos to showcase and teach you how to do nature maps. And so I'm not using large maps because it's just a lot of work. So let's go on. I took a log and I put it over here on the opposite side of the forest, as is to say the log kind of maybe broke off one of the trees and fell and drifted off to the other side. So now one thing I do want you to note when you're map making is that if you place too much of something, it draws too much attention to the mind. Whenever you're playing, you'll see so many logs and you'll start to think, that's really a lot of logs. So whenever you start placing things, be wary of yourself and how many things you're putting down. You have to kind of take a tally and account of what's on your map. And so that looks, maybe you can get away with it. It just, to me, in my opinion, it looks way too much. You might be able to do a few more than one. I just do one because that's my map making style. You could do 2 or 3. It's all up to you. But personally, I would say just keep it to a low number. But for this map, I've only used 1 because it is a tundra-like environment. So trees do exist, but maybe not so commonly. Okay, and another thing to note is that we put a tree over here, a large tree. It just kind of it adds what I like to call an accent to a map. So for, you know what an accent is? When someone speaks, they speak in a certain manner. If two people both speak English, one is German and one is Australian, they have two accents. But they're both speaking English, but they have different accents in how they speak it. So what I'm saying is that an accent is just kind of like a style. It's a manner, it's a look, it's a sound, it's a feel. So I call that tree an accent because it changes the dynamic of the map. It's hard to really put words into it, but one little tree can change your whole map. Alright, so one thing also to note is the lake. I did not draw a square. I made it try to look random and kind of spontaneous, natural, wild. The water forms beaches, banks, however it wants to. It doesn't just do it in a perfectly square. Nature is not square. It has no shape. It's completely wild and chaotic. So we have the rocks in the middle to look like ice. We have the pebbles on the bank. We have some grass over here by the forest. And then I placed a few rocks. Not too many. Again, you want to keep certain objects and items that you put down on your maps. You want to keep it to a low number. And then I put a little snowman just to lighten the map up. Okay, so that's that's pretty much it. That's everything to know about how I made this map. The next map I'll probably actually show you the creation process, because I think that's probably most helpful to some people. But I wanted to make a video that's not as long as the other one. So there you go. That is the ice lake. See you later.